Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about this knife right here. It is a Cold Steel Ultimate Hunter. But is it really a hunter? I don't know about you, but most time when I think about hunting, I think about a knife like this Bark River here, or even a bigger knife like this. These are hunting knives, aren't they? Is this really a hunting knife? And look, it folds. It's a folding knife. Do you really think folding knives can be hunters? Well, we're going to talk about that a little bit. Maybe there's something to this knife. And we'll talk about the knife, but we'll also talk about this concept of a folding hunter. So if you'd like to hear more about that, go ahead and check out the video.
Golden eagles lifted by the warm air rising from the steep slopes.
Get that bird, Boots. Get it.
Oh no, that was a big one.
Hey, welcome back to the contaminated castle. Yes, it's normally fortified, but it's contaminated right now. I feel like crap because I've got COVID. My wife had COVID. And thank you to her for sharing that. We share everything, including infectious diseases. And so we're going to be talking about this knife today. I'm going to try to hang in there. Kind of feel sick off and on, but I'm excited about this knife. I wanted to give it a shot, and let me just say hi to all my viewers. Sorry for dropping the live show. I just didn't feel like I was mentally there to do a live show, and so I canceled it. I really hate doing that. But anyhow, let's get down. Talk about this knife. I have a few things going here, a few concepts. I wanted to cover the knife first, but then we're going to talk a little bit about this idea of folding hunters. I think nowadays there's a couple different paths that people walk, and I think there's so many good fixed blades out there today. I really think like the fixed blade guys are in the biggest part of the camp. But there's also a lot of guys who enjoy carrying folding knives, modern folded knives, out when they hunt. So we're going to look at both of those worlds and really dive into, can this actually be a hunting knife? A folding hunter. And so yeah, we're gonna look at this knife first. So this is a knife made by Cold Steel. We'll get the good stuff out there. It is S35BN. You can get one of these knives probably between $99 and $107. I paid $107 for this. You can also pay more for this knife depending on where you get it. And great steel. Cold Steel's been using S35BN for a long time, and I've had really good success with their knives. This is my Recon, over 10 years old now, and S35BN, and just absolutely fantastic. So the steel works as advertised. They do a good job on their steel. You've got a drop point blade here. Whoop, whoop, whoop. You got a drop point blade with a hollow grind that comes down to a really good edge right there. And you can see that. And I prefer a drop point on a hunting knife. I know a lot of guys carry knives that have clip points, but this really lends itself better to zipping in and going up a skin rather than a clip point, which is a little bit sharper, more pointy. You're going to have a harder time keeping it from poking something that it shouldn't poke. On the back here, we've got nicely sculpted G10 with a very weird finger grip right there. You have your standard high torque screws there, a couple pins here because it is a lockback. So you can see the lockback here. really nice job on it. Like all cold steel, it is a very resistant lockback. And then it is a triad lock on here, so very strong lock on this knife. And what else? Clip, standard fare for cold steel. It is not a deep pocket clip. I don't really care because I'm usually carrying weapons and camo when I'm out hunting. So it doesn't really need to hide because it's, other than the camo, I'm not really hiding with all that gear on me. So it doesn't really need one. You have a very nice lanyard hole here, adequate for leather or paracord, whatever is your favorite. And standard thumb stud right here. So Cold Steel makes them this way. This is set up for right hand. All you got to do, stick in a screwdriver, back it out, and all of a sudden it's a left hand thumb stud. So completely ambidextrous. Clip moves to the other side. All it is tip up carry, which is the way God carries his knife, and everybody should. Was going to move on, but I forgot to tell you the dimensions. Overall, this is an 8.5-inch knife. So this is a fixed blade by Cold Steel. And let me show you on a couple other ones. Here's a buck 110 compared to it. And here is a case 65, 62 folding hunter. Right there, the case is a lot longer. That's surprising. This is longer than the buck. So that is how it compares to a couple knives. You have a 5-inch overall length from the longest point to the longest point on the handle. 3.5-inch blade. That's really interesting. Okay, 3.5-inch blade. Because if you match up this folding hunter, you can see it's longer. It's longer by a little bit than that. So that's kind of interesting. Is that too short? I don't think so. All right. So I really think most guys nowadays carry fixed blades. There's so many good ones to choose from when they're hunting. And I think most guys carry a fixed blade about this size. That's all you need when you're hunting. Some, like me, carry big old ones like this that you really don't need when you're skinning. In fact, this is, I would end up choking up on this to skin. And so I think something like this is what most guys carry. But there's a lot of guys you see in the woods who do carry knives like these. Whether they're for utility or skinning, I don't know. I've been around old timers. I've skinned deer with old timers, and they have used folders. And a lot of them like to do it the old-fashioned way. They like to use a buck. Or some of them will use a folding hunter like this case right here. So the old timers are used to using a folder. It's really all you need to skin a deer. Although quartering it, you may want something a little bigger for that. So let's handle the elephant in the room, the ultimate hunter. So if you're that guy who does carry a folding knife into the field with you and who does skin game with a folding knife, ultimate hunter is a bold claim. And why can't you use this? So I've carried this in the field, and I like carrying it, and it does just fine. But this was meant as a tactical folder. It has a clip point, very pointy here, really hard to get down in there and make some cuts. And it, it'll do the job, but most knives will, won't they? Like most knives you can use for different things. Why not the Benchmade Adamas? Big, burly, rough. This actually fills your hand really well. It's extra wide. And it just, I have not used it hunting, but seems like it would be a good choice for hunting. And I think some guys do carry it for a hunting knife. At least I've heard guys say that they do. Also, here's another big one, the Almar Sear, and another good knife for outdoors. Yes, you can use it hunting. This one has a drop point blade, which I think just does a better job hunting. It's kind of messed up. I need to clean that up. Anyhow, so how is this better? Well, one, I think it's better because it does have a smaller blade. So this lends itself better to skinning game. The other thing is it's a much wider blade. You could even do some light batoning with this if you wanted some feather sticks or something like that. It worked just fine. This is a hunk of beef right here. It's not going to break on you. The locks are solid. I've batoned with this knife, feasibility kind of thing. And, this will handle it, I'm sure, too. This G10 is pretty grippy. And these grooves, these weird grooves here. So if you're right-handed, your finger just goes right into that groove and it just locks your finger in really nice. Nice jimping that grabs your hand there. If you're left-handed, your left hand goes into that groove just fine. Naturally, feels great. No hot spots with the clip, by the way. And it's extra long. So if you needed to choke back on this and do a little bit of chopping, you could. So I don't know about an Ultimate Hunter, but I think this definitely is purpose built to be a hunting knife, and it would just excel. I just got this, so I haven't had it out in the field, but we'll certainly take it out there and run it through the mill eventually. So I wanted to discuss a folding knife as a hunting knife. That seems preposterous to a lot of people. But so I'm going to give you the history on that a little bit next. For a long time, in this country at least, but I think also throughout the world, folding knives have been a part of hunting. This is a large knife. It's a 5-inch handle. Blade was a lot bigger. It's worn down with time now. This dates back to the 1840s, this knife right here. And nice stack. And this is the kind of things that people carried. So when people were out and about in the wilderness, they carried a big blade and a folder. And when you look at old magazines, these were called folding hunters. Here's one that dates to the turn of the century. It's Locken, a Westinghouse, and it's listed as a folding hunter, even though it's a Locken blade. So pretty much, whenever you got to the 4-inch range, this is a trapper, of course, they were called folding hunters or a trapper or some other type of hunting name was given to these knives. So a large knife that was not a pocket knife, that was 4 inches or larger, was usually called a folding hunter in in sales material, in magazines, in advertisements, those type of things. The Trapper, of course, came around 1922. It was a medium use hunting knife. But I've heard guys say that they've skinned elk with those. Don't know whether that's true or not. But here's another one. It's a 4-inch knife. I think this is Joseph Rogers. No, Thomas Turner. Yeah. Old Thomas Turner single blade. Again, dates back to the mid 1800s. Beautiful knife, and these would have been advertised as folding hunters. So the folding knife is something that's been around for a long time and has only become weird lately, right? Lately. But for hundreds of years, these folding hunters have been used for hunting purposes and done just fine, just fine. This is a moose, and it's, that's about 3 3/4, maybe. Ooh, 4 and 1/8 inches. Big bruising blade there. In this case, it's a drop point. This dates pre-1928. It's a Canton cutlery. Nice clip blade here. These were beef up versions of this knife right here, which is called a muskrat. One of the few knives that were called a name from its inception. And these had little skinny blades here. This is called a muskrat blade. This one is a Schrade. And you had two of the same blades. And trappers just loved these knives. And they were popular from the 1920s all the way up to the 1960s. Of course, there's a lot of guys who love this pattern now. There's still trappers who use this knife. It's lightweight, but large. And it's great for small game like squirrel and muskrat and things like that you might hunt. The moose was meant to be a bulkier, bigger. You can see how much bigger it is. This is a hefty knife. So this is a knife that's in line with this knife right here as far as heft and robustness. So, these knives have been around a long time. I think the original purpose of the Daddy Barlow was not to be collected and look cool, but it was advertised as a hunter. And these were, a different pattern, large hunting knife that people carried for that purpose. This one dates to the early 1900s. Here's another one. This is a large English Jack by Robertson. This was a folding hunter and certainly would have been bought for that purpose, just like we do today. So, right, we really don't, most guys don't carry around big knives like this. I mean, some guys do, I do, most guys don't. They carry a smaller knife for EDC and carrying around town, but they would need a knife like this if they were working on the farm or going hunting. And that's what the role these knives filled, was folding hunters. And all of that is just to tell you that these knives are viable, right? They've used them for hundreds of years. So I wanted to show you the comparison as a fixed blade and a fold-in hunter. Now, there'd be those who would say if you have a fixed blade with just solid steel, it's not going to break on you. Why use a folding hunter? Well, folding hunters fold and get out of the way. It could be a bother to carry a fixed blade. Here's another 50s, 60s version of a small hunter. You can see, they're comparable size. So this is completely within the scope of a hunting knife. This one's a new one from Schrade. I love that little knife, by the way. And nice, stag. Nice little knife. Haven't used it for skinning yet. I just don't do a lot of hunting anymore because I'm old. Here's another one from Benchmade. This is a great knife too. I've done a lot of woodwork with this. Don't think I ever skinned anything. I haven't skinned anything with this, but I have done a lot of bushcraft with it. And S30V has held up just fine. Again, though, that's kind of the size you want, right? For a hunting knife. That's typical of what a lot of hunters use. Here's one from the late 1800s, 1890. It is Joseph or Allen cutlery. And again, this is a bigger one. Let's see if we can. It's a little bigger there. So you get about 1.5 inches more on the blade than the other one. And one last one. Here's a recent one too. That's Bark River. This baby's been out hunting and just really cool. That's hunting in style right there. The pine infused in resin just does a fantastic job. I love this design. I love these Bark River Bravo 1s and 1.25s for hunting. But one more, because it's a knife show, right? So this is an old Imperial, Bolden Hunter. And you can see this is bigger. So you get the point, I think, right? This is plenty big enough to hunt with and skin game with. Most game, I'd say. I'd be completely comfortable hunting and using this to skin game. So maybe open your horizons if you're that fixed blade guy and you never really carried one of these out, never really tried to skin game with a folding hunter. They're just as easy to clean as a knife like this. I mean, what do you do with this knife? You take it, you wash it off, you wipe it down, right? After you skin your game. You do the same thing for these. You just, either drop it in a bucket or hose it down, whatever you want to do, air dry it, lube it back up, and she's good to go. But yeah, I like this knife. When I first saw this years ago, by the way, I think this knife's been around since at least 2016, but in the pictures it looks big and bulky, and the advertisements don't do this knife justice. It's actually pretty slim. Let me show you that. This is a pretty slim knife here, and these are actually the same size. Look at that. So it looks bulkier than it really is. I don't know whether that's coming through on the video or not, but this is just a fantastic knife. Can't wait to get this out and use it, by the way. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're that fixed blade guy, yeah, try it out. If you're a folding hunter type guy, yeah, this just might be superior than the Spyderco you're carrying out into the field. Might work better. It sure feels that way to me. But I don't know about being the ultimate hunter, but I'd say this is a pretty good choice for you if you were looking for a good hunting knife out in the field. All right, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for all your encouragement and your blessings as you guys have, passed on well wishes to me to get better. I really appreciate that. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.